What's it all about? Why are we here? Is there a God? What happens when we die? In this series, I'm talking to public figures about these questions. Like me, none of them claims to be a religious expert, but all of them have, at times, had cause to think about the meaning of life. Hello, and our guest is Mr. Noel Gallagher, and thank you, sir, for taking the time.
A pleasure.
Since this programme is called The Meaning of Life, I'm going to start with a small miracle which happened in May of this year, when Manchester City, in injury time, slapped one in and gained the Premiership over a crowd called Manchester United. And I want you to tell me, what did that mean to a young fella, or young fellas, from Burnage in Manchester?
It means everything. Everything. Supporting that team since I was 5 or 6 or 40 years. I haven't seen them do anything, really. It was just breathtaking, the most breathtaking 5 minutes of football I've ever seen. Amazing. And
on a scale to do with marriage and sex and having a child and a #1 of the charts and everything else, how does it compare? Up there with that?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And my wife understands that. I wouldn't give up my kids and my family for City winning the league, but I'd give up a few #1s, that's for sure.
Would you?
Yeah, well, I've had 9. I'd give up 4 of those. 4 of them weren't the best.
OK, take me back to Burnage and the household you lived in, Peggy and Thomas. Where in Ireland were they from?
My mum is from a place called Charlestown in County Mayo. My dad is from a little place called Duleek in County Meath. I was born in an area of Manchester called Longsight, in a house, as I remember, was on the top of a sloping little alleyway with proper cobblestones, and it was a 2 up, 2 down outside toilet. Working class, grim northern reality. Yeah.
Was it a very Irishy house?
Yes, yeah. There was shillelaghs everywhere, but we always spent our summer holidays and any school holidays in County Mayo.
Irish nights in St Kent's, Chorlton Irish Club, that kind of...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. St Kent's, yeah. How do you know about that?
I did my stint in Manchester as well, you know.
Oh, yeah, St Kent's. I used to play for their football team, I think.
And was there Irish music going on in the house?
Oh, yeah, my dad was a DJ. He was a country, and he'd play all the Irish social clubs, a country and western DJ.
Speaking about your father, it has been written much about his alcoholism and his violence and mother doing a skip in the end and all of that. You seem to play that down as if it was sort of average for the area and the time.
Well, I don't think he was an alcoholic. He just doesn't. I just think he was a bit of a rubbish husband. But I've got to say, all my friends who are my age, all their families are split up. So it was kind of par for the course. The 70s was a tough time in Manchester. Not only for working class people, but for Irish people, you know, with the troubles that were being brought over there and stuff like that. And it was a tough time. You know, there wasn't a lot of work and there wasn't a lot of money. But I don't look back on any of that time with any regret or sadness. It kind of makes you what you are.
It didn't mean that you were an unhappy child.
I discovered music, and there was a guitar in our house. For some reason, no one's ever quite got to the bottom of why that was there. Once I picked that up, that was my escape from everything. No matter what was going on at home, or what was going on at school, or anything like that, I had that. And still to this day, I can sit and pick up a guitar, and I can be gone for hours. I can be just anywhere I want to be, just playing. You
don't see your father?
No.
It must have been bad then that you may have no contact with him or him with you, or...
Well, no, I seen it after my mum and dad split up. We've still seen him. Only lived about 200 yards up the road. My mum never said anything like, you can't see him or anything like. We've seen him. He still had his own firm of laying concrete floors, and we still did a bit of work with him. But then very soon after that, we kind of became men. And then you go off and do your own thing. It's not shocking for families to become estranged, when, particularly family of boys, when they all get on and start doing their own thing.
Did you and Paul have a stammer?
I did. I think Paul, yeah. I think Paul did. We used to go to speech therapy.
And you got over the stammer?
Eventually.
Eventually. Okay, tell me about religion in your house. Now, your mother and father must have been traditional Irish Catholics.
Yep. My mum would take us to church every Sunday until, I'd say, we were teenagers, and then we just stopped going. I think we were maybe the only Irish family, if I remember correctly. Maybe not. I remember my English friends would be like, "What are you going to church for?" We'd be like, "I have no idea." I have no idea why I'm going to church.
But you just went kind of ritually.
Yeah, because my mum went, and that was the thing to do, you know.
Yeah. And did she stop suddenly, or was it a slow burnout, or what?
I'm not sure, but now she goes.
How do you know?
Because she tells me. You know, she tells me she's been to Mass and stuff like that.
She's praying for you and for the rest of the family and everybody else.
Yeah, one would hope, yeah.
So you stopped going when she stopped going?
Yeah.
And that was a relief. Thank God that's over.
Well, not a relief. I mean, I haven't got anything against my wife and her mother and father. They go to church and sing the hymns with great enthusiasm and stuff like that. I kind of envy people that have that with religion, that they can insert it into their lives and it guides them through whatever path it is. I genuinely wish I had something like that. I'm not like my soul or whatever it is not like that. My path is different, you know. And my wife will undoubtedly, you know, bring the boys up in a certain way, and I guess I wouldn't be against that.
Come back to school. You managed to pull a good trick in my book that you were mitching from school in a school where your mother was the dinner lady. Now, that's a fairly neat accomplishment, if I may say so.
Yeah, well, it's one of my greatest achievements, I have to say. Eventually, one of the teachers, I think, said they'd asked my mum, well, you know, had she murdered me and stuck me in a cupboard or something because they hadn't seen me for months. And my mum was like, well, I've seen him every day.
Wait a minute, are you saying you went in every day so that she would see you at lunchtime?
Yeah, I went in to have my dinner every day. It was a bit of an art to get in and then get out in a 45-minute period without being seen by any of the teachers you were having lessons with that next afternoon, or you were supposed to have had lessons with that morning.
Okay, you were done for mitching, and you were given the probation for nicking stuff off the corner shop, and you were getting in with a bad lot and all of those things. Not what Peggy would have had in mind for you whatsoever. So no wonder she was extremely angry about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, all parents, you know, they're like, they want the... If they see... I guess she kind of seen that me and my other two brothers, we're not bad lads. And I got to say, you've got to come back from where we come from. We come from quite a large council estate in South Manchester. And we were all lads, you know what I mean? And there was no... My dad was working away, or we never really seen him as a father figure, you know. So you were kind of out there in the Wild West almost, and it was all going on, you know, crime and drugs and all sorts of things. And you know, I'm just glad I got through the other side and found something in music that took me in a different direction.
Right. Now, I remember you distinctly telling me on the Late Late Show that somewhere around there, as you say, you found a guitar and you started to figure out how to get a C chord and a G and an F and a D7th and a B flat and so on. And you spent hours teaching us how to do this. Yeah.
Oh, to the point where my mum thought I was... like weird, you know, because I would never go out. I became very quickly obsessed with it, and music in general. And the first song I learned to play was House of the Rising Sun. And really, when I kind of mastered playing 4 chords in a row, that was it. I was off. There's no stopping me then. People say to me, so can you read music? And you say, no. And people find it fascinating that you can't. But I don't know anybody that can. I don't know anybody that could write musical notes out and then play it.
Do you think if you knew how to do that, it might ruin you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the more, you know, the more you learn, the less you know, you know. That's the great thing about punk rock. You know, I was just very young when punk rock came out in the late 70s, and that was the ethos, do it for yourself. Then when I began to get confident playing the guitar, then there was like, then you really understand how great the Beatles' songwriting is. You know, and then you learn to play those songs and you think, wow, they're so simple, but it's the melodies they were coming up with on top of that and the chord changes. And then that quickly became an obsession that still goes on till today.
Having been your hero, when you now mix with Paul, Sir Paul, do you find that awkward in any way? Or
no, he's just the one thing about him is he's an absolute gentleman. He's dead easy to talk to. He knows who he is. He has a bit of fun with that side of it, you know. And he's great. I bumped into him shopping, you know, one afternoon in Selfridges in London, and some kids, we were in the men's department at Selfridges. They're, hey, all right. And some Spanish tourists just went to walk past and were kind of got the cameras out. And they said, can I get a picture? And he said, oh, if you don't mind, I'm just having a chat with my mate. And I was like, oh, it's me. Oh, I mean, all the people that you meet who you would consider icons, like Neil Young and Paul McCartney and, you know, Weller and all, there's no attitude with them because they've got nothing to prove. They know who they are.
Okay, now when you arrived on the scene with the big band and Oasis and a lot of noise, you were 27-ish, which is kind of advanced for a budding rock and roll star.
That's when everyone starts dying in the musical annals, is at 27.
They're done and finished.
Yeah, I was just revving up by then.
When you did come on the scene, you weren't behind the door telling people how good you were and how great you were going to be, and you were fairly cocky about the whole thing, were you not?
Wasn't the time for wallflowers, you know? We were out to inspire a generation. At the time, we said we never had a message for the youth, but really what it was just like, if we can do it, we can do it. We're nobodies. We're a bunch of nobodies from a council estate. But if we can do it, you can do it. All our crew was just all our mates from Manchester. And we treated tours then, as we did right up to the end, till really an extended stag do, you know. Some people run drugs and...
A lot of drinking.
A lot of drinking.
Which brings me neatly